The dollar bill was crumpled warm from being clutched in a small fist for 3 hours. Amara Jackson couldn't see the biker's face. She'd never seen anything in her 7 years, but she heard something in his voice that made her reach out anyway. "Please, mister, you sound sad." Marcus Reaper Stone stared at the blind child, offering him her last dollar in a Chicago blizzard, and for the first time in 23 years, the hardened Hell's Angel felt his throat close up. He'd killed men. He'd abandoned his own daughter. But this little girl's kindness was about to destroy him in ways prison never could. If you want to see how $1 changed thousands of lives, subscribe now and comment what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story reaches. Stay until the end. You won't believe what happens next. Marcus Stone's hands were shaking, and it wasn't from the cold. He'd been standing outside the Southside Community Center for 15 minutes, watching snow pile up on his Harley, trying to decide if he had the guts to walk inside. The flyer had said they were hiring maintenance workers, no experience necessary. At 52 years old, with a criminal record that read like a crime novel, and hands that still bore prison tattoos, Marcus wasn't used to places wanting him for anything legal. The wind howled down Martin Luther King Drive, cutting through his leather jacket like it wasn't there. December in Chicago didn't mess around. Marcus had lived through plenty of winters on these streets as a kid in the projects, as a young man running with gangs as a Hell's Angel who'd spent more time in prison than out of it. But this winter felt different, colder somehow, more final. He was about to turn back to his bike when he heard it. A voice, small and clear, cutting through the wind. "Excuse me, mister. Are you lost?" Marcus turned. Sitting on the concrete bench by the center's entrance was a little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old. African-American, with her hair in neat braids, wearing a puffy pink coat that was too thin for this weather. She was looking in his direction, but not quite at him. Her eyes, something was off about her eyes. "I'm not lost, kid," Marcus said, his voice rougher than he intended. "Just thinking." "You've been standing there a long time," the girl said matter-of-factly. "I heard your boots crunching in the snow. You walked up, then you stopped, then you walked in a circle, then you stopped again. That's what people do when they're scared to go inside somewhere." Marcus felt a strange jolt. This little girl had been tracking his movements by sound. "You're blind," he said, then immediately felt like an idiot for stating the obvious. "Yes, sir." The girl smiled, completely unbothered. "Born that way. My Nana says my eyes don't work, but my ears work double time to make up for it. I'm Amara Jackson." "Marcus," he said, then caught himself. "People call me Reaper." "That's a scary name," Amara said, tilting her head. "But you don't sound scary. You sound sad and cold. You should go inside. It's warm in there." Marcus found himself walking toward the bench without deciding to. Something about this kid pulled at him. "What are you doing out here in this weather? Where's your parents?" "My Nana works inside," Amara said. "She's a janitor on the 2nd floor and she cooks in the kitchen on weekends. She works a lot. I sit out here and wait for her because inside is too loud and confusing. Too many voices bouncing off walls. Out here I can hear better. I can hear the wind and the cars and the people walking by. I can make sense of it." Marcus sat down on the bench, keeping a respectful distance. The girl tracked his movement perfectly, turning her head as he settled beside her. "Your grandmother makes you sit outside in the cold." Marcus felt a flicker of anger. "No, sir, it's my choice. Nana worries about it, but I like it. Cold air has edges. Everything's sharper. Makes the world easier to understand." Amara reached into her pocket and pulled out a granola bar. "You want half?" "You sound hungry. Your stomach's been growling." Marcus was hungry. He'd had coffee for breakfast and nothing since, but he shook his head before remembering she couldn't see him. "No thanks, kid. You keep it." "I got another one for tomorrow," Amara said. She broke the bar in half with practiced precision and held out her hand in his direction. "My Nana says when someone's hungry you share, even if you don't got much." Marcus took the granola bar, his throat tight. When was the last time someone had offered him something with no strings attached? "Thank you, Amara." They sat in silence for a moment, Marcus chewing the granola bar that tasted like sawdust in his suddenly dry mouth. Amara pulled out a small book with raised dots on its pages. Braille, Marcus realized. She ran her fingers across the page with the kind of focus he'd only ever seen in monks or mechanics. "What are you reading?" he asked. "It's about a girl who can't hear and a teacher who helps her learn to talk with her hands," Amara said. "It's my favorite. The girl's name is Helen. She gets really mad at first because she doesn't understand why she's different. But then she learns that different doesn't mean broken. It just means you do things another way." "Smart kid," Marcus said quietly. "Nana says I gotta be smart, because the world's not built for people like me," Amara said. "But I don't mind. I like figuring things out my own way." Marcus felt something crack open in his chest. This little girl sitting in a blizzard, reading about other people who were different, completely at peace with herself. It made him want to scream and cry at the same time. "How old are you, Amara?" 7, almost 8. My birthday's in February." She marked her place in the book and turned toward him. "How old are you?" "Mr. Reaper." 52, and just call me Marcus. Reapers, that's my road name. For the club." "What club?" Marcus hesitated. "Motorcycle club. The Hells Angels, South Side chapter." He waited for her to pull away to show fear. Everyone knew about the Hells Angels. Even kids who couldn't see knew to be afraid of them. But Amara just nodded thoughtfully. "My Nana says people in gangs are usually scared people trying to find family." "Are you scared, Marcus?" The question punched him in the gut. This 7-year-old blind girl had just read him more accurately than any therapist or priest ever had. "Yeah," he said, his voice barely audible. "Yeah, I'm scared." "Of what, some?" Marcus looked at this child, this stranger, who somehow felt like the first real person he'd talked to in decades, and told her the truth. Of being nobody. Of dying alone. Of never fixing the things I broke. The words poured out before he could stop them. "I got a daughter. Had a daughter. Haven't seen her in 23 years. Left when she was 2. I was young and stupid and hooked on everything you can be hooked on. Her mama kicked me out, rightfully so, and I never went back. Never paid support. Never called. Just vanished." "Do you think about her?" Amara asked softly. "Every day of my life." "Then you should tell her that." Marcus laughed a bitter sound. "She doesn't want to hear from me, kid. I'm the man who abandoned her, left her and her mama with nothing. I'm not someone anyone should want in their life." "My daddy left too," Amara said simply. "Before I was born. Never met him. My mama died when I was 3. I don't remember her much. It's just me and Nana now." "I'm sorry, kid. It's okay. Nana says some people aren't built for staying, but the ones who stay, they're the ones that matter. And the ones who left, maybe they're scared too. Maybe they think about us and wish they could fix it but don't know how." Amara reached over and found his hand with surprising accuracy. "You could try Marcus. Maybe your daughter's waiting for you to be brave enough to try." Marcus stared at the small hand holding his scarred, tattooed one. This child was comforting him. This blind 7-year-old who had every reason to be bitter about absent fathers was telling him about second chances. "What if she hates me?" he whispered. "Maybe she will. But maybe she won't. You won't know until you try. And not knowing, that's worse than anything, isn't it?" Marcus couldn't answer. Couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. A door opened behind them.
"Amara, baby, you okay out here?"
An older woman emerged, bundled in a maintenance uniform and a heavy coat. She had to be at least 70, with gray hair pulled back in a bun, and the kind of face that had seen every hardship life could throw, but had kept its kindness anyway. Her eyes narrowed when she saw Marcus. "I'm okay, Nana," Amara said, releasing Marcus's hand. "This is my friend Marcus. He's a Hell's Angel." The grandmother's expression went from suspicious to hostile. "Amara, inside. Now." "Nana, he's nice." "Inside. I won't say it again." Amara stood reluctantly. "Bye, Marcus. Thank you for talking to me." The grandmother, Mrs. Jackson, Marcus assumed, waited until Amara was through the door before turning on him. I don't know what you think you're doing talking to my grandbaby, but you need to move along. We don't want trouble. Ma'am, I was just sitting. She started talking to me. I swear I wasn't trying to. I know what you were trying to do. I've lived in this neighborhood 68 years. I know what Hell's Angels do. I know what men like you want. Stay away from my granddaughter. Mrs. Jackson. Stay away. Her voice was steel wrapped in velvet. Or I'll call the police. And before you think about threatening me, know that I buried a husband who was twice your size and raised 3 boys in this neighborhood when it was worse than it is now. I'm not afraid of you. Marcus held up his hands. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm leaving. I'm sorry. He walked back to his bike, his heart pounding. Behind him, he heard the door close. He sat on his Harley in the falling snow, his hands on the handlebars, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Shame. Deep burning shame. Mrs. Jackson was right to protect Amara from him. He was dangerous. He was broken. He was everything parents warned their kids about. That little girl's kindness had made him forget that for a few minutes, but her grandmother had reminded him of the truth. He was about to start his engine when he heard the door open again. Marcus. Marcus. Wait. He turned. Amara was running toward him, actually running, her small hands outstretched, moving with the kind of reckless bravery that made Marcus's heart stop. Her grandmother was right behind her, calling her name, trying to catch her. Amara, no, get back here. But Amara reached Marcus first, crashing into his bike with enough force to make him jump off and catch her before she fell. I forgot to give you something, she gasped, breathing hard. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a dollar bill, crumpled, worn, obviously precious. Here, please take it. Kid, I can't. Please. Amara pressed the dollar into his hand. You said you're scared of dying alone, but nobody dies alone if someone cares about them. I care about you, Marcus. You were kind to me, so take this. It's my lunch money for next week, but I want you to have it. Buy yourself something warm. Buy yourself food. Just know that someone cares. Marcus looked at the dollar bill in his hand. One single dollar. From a blind 7-year-old who probably didn't have $2 to her name, offering her last bit of money to a stranger, to a Hell's Angel, to a man who'd done nothing to deserve it. Something inside him shattered. Amara Jackson, you get back here right now. Mrs. Jackson grabbed her granddaughter, pulling her back. She looked at Marcus with fury. If you take money from a child, I'm not taking it, Marcus said, his voice breaking. He tried to hand the dollar back to Amara, but she'd already turned away her small hand, finding her grandmother's. Kid, please, I can't take this. You have to, Amara called back. I gave it to you. It's yours now. That's how gifts work, Mrs. Jackson pulled Amara inside the door, slamming behind them. Marcus stood in the snow, a dollar bill in his hand, and felt his entire world tilt on its axis. This child, this blind, poor, too kind child, had just given him everything she had. And for the first time in 23 years, Marcus Reaper Stone felt something he thought he'd lost forever. Hope. 3 hours later, Marcus was still sitting on his bike outside the community center, the dollar bill in his hand, when his phone rang. Reaper, where the hell are you? It was Snake, his club brother. Church started 20 minutes ago. Prez is pissed. I'm coming, Marcus said automatically. Then, actually no, I need you to get everyone to the center. The South Side Community Center on King Drive. Everyone. All 98 of us. What? Why, what's going on? Just do it. Tell Prez it's important. Tell him. Marcus looked at the dollar in his hand. Tell him I'm calling in my marker, the one he owes me from the thing in Gary. Tell him I need the full club here in 2 hours. Reaper, what the hell? 2 hours, Snake, please. Marcus hung up and walked into the community center. The interior was worn but clean, with institutional fluorescent lights and the smell of industrial cleaner. A receptionist looked up nervously as he approached. I need to speak to Mrs. Jackson, Marcus said. The janitor. It's important. She's working. I'll wait. He sat in one of the plastic chairs in the lobby, the dollar still in his hand, and waited. Other people came and went. Social workers, families, kids. They all gave him a wide berth, this leather-clad, tattooed biker sitting alone. He didn't blame them. Finally, Mrs. Jackson emerged from a stairwell carrying cleaning supplies. She saw Marcus, and her expression hardened. "I told you to leave." "I know. I'm sorry. But I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth." Marcus stood. "That little girl, Amara, does she need help? Medical help? Something expensive you can't afford?" Mrs. Jackson's face went carefully blank. "That's none of your business. Please. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Please." Something in his voice must have reached her because Mrs. Jackson's shoulders slumped. She set down her cleaning supplies and sat heavily in one of the plastic chairs. Marcus sat across from her. "She's going to go completely blind," Mrs. Jackson said quietly. "She's got some vision left in her right eye, just shapes and light. But there's scar tissue on her retina from when she was born premature. It's detaching. The doctors say she needs surgery soon or she'll lose everything." "How much?" $2,500, might as well be 25,000. "I work 3 jobs. I clean here, I cook at a church on weekends, I do alterations at night. Amara's mama left some life insurance, but it barely covered the funeral. We live with my sister to save on rent. Every penny goes to Amara's needs, her Braille books, her special teacher, her white cane. I've been saving for 2 years and I got $800. At the rate I'm going, I'll have enough money right around the time she goes completely blind anyway." Marcus felt rage building in his chest, not at Mrs. Jackson, but at a world that would let this happen. That would let a child lose her vision because her grandmother couldn't scrape together $2,500. "What if I could get you that money?" he said. Mrs. Jackson's head snapped up. What? What if my club, the Hells Angels? What if we raised the money for Amara's surgery?" "Why would you do that?" "Because..." Marcus looked at the dollar in his hand. "Because your granddaughter gave me her last dollar. She didn't have to. She didn't know me. I'm a stranger. I'm a criminal. I'm everything you should teach a kid to avoid. But she looked past all that and she saw someone who needed help. And she helped. No questions, no judgment, just kindness." Mrs. Jackson's eyes filled with tears. That's who she is. That's who she's always been. Kindest soul God ever made. Even with everything she's been through, she just loves people. "I want to do something good," Marcus said simply. "Maybe the only good thing I'll ever do. Let me try. Let us try." "Let us." "I don't trust gangs," Mrs. Jackson said. "I don't trust men who look like you, sound like you, act like you. I've been burned too many times." "I know, and you're right not to trust me. But trust this." Marcus held up the dollar. "This mattered. This changed something. Your granddaughter changed something in me, and I want to honor that. So let me try. If we can't raise the money, you're no worse off than you are now. But if you can, you save her sight." Mrs. Jackson wiped her eyes. Even partial sight is everything to her. She could stay in regular school. She could play with other kids easier. She could have a better life. "Then let us try." Mrs. Jackson looked at him for a long moment. Marcus didn't look away. He let her see everything, the tattoos, the scars, the years of bad choices written on his face. He let her judge him and find him wanting. Because he was wanting. He was broken and wrong and had hurt more people than he'd ever helped. But maybe, just maybe, he could help this one little girl. "Okay," Mrs. Jackson said finally. "But if you disappoint that child, if you get her hopes up and then vanish like every other man in her life, I will hunt you down. I don't care how many Hells Angels you got. I will make your life hell." "Deal," Marcus said. 2 hours later, 98 Harley-Davidson motorcycles filled the parking lot of the Southside Community Center. 98 Hells Angels ranging from 25 to 70 years old from every background imaginable stood in the falling snow and listened to Marcus Reaper Stone talk about a blind 7-year-old girl who'd given him $1. "You want us to raise money for a kid?" Snake said, confused. "Since when do we do charity?" "Since today," Marcus said firmly. He was standing on his bike addressing the full club. Their president, a massive man named Ironhead who'd done 15 years in Stateville for manslaughter, stood with his arms crossed, listening. "Brother, I get it." Another member, Tiny, who was 6'5" and 300 pounds, said gently, "She's a sweet kid, but we're not social workers. We're outlaws." "Are we?" Marcus challenged. "Is that all we are? Just outlaws? Just criminals? Just waste? Is that it? Is that all we get to be?" The parking lot went silent. Snow fell on leather and chrome. "I got a daughter I haven't seen in 23 years, Marcus continued, his voice cracking. "Most of you got kids you don't see. Ex-wives who won't talk to you. Parents who disowned you. We all got people we hurt. People we left. People who are better off without us." He held up the dollar bill. This little girl didn't see any of that. She couldn't, she's blind. She just heard a sad voice and wanted to help. No judgment, no conditions, just kindness. "Reaper," Snake started. "I'm asking you," Marcus said, looking at each member. "I'm asking all of you. Let's do something good. Let's be more than what people think we are. Let's save this kid's sight. Let's show the world that Hell's Angels can be angels for real. Just this once." Ironhead stepped forward. He was in his 60s, gray beard, down to his chest, eyes that had seen things that would break most men. He'd been in the club for 40 years. He was legend. "You really think this matters?" he asked Marcus quietly. "You think one good deed erases everything we've done?" "No," Marcus said honestly. "But maybe it starts something. Maybe it means we're more than our worst choices. Maybe it means we can still be human." Ironhead looked at him for a long moment, then he turned to the club. "All in favor of Operation Last Dollar say aye." 98 voices rang out in the snow. "Aye." Marcus felt his knees buckle. He caught himself on his handlebars, breathing hard. These men, these criminals, these outlaws, these broken souls, they were all in. "We got 2 weeks till Christmas," Ironhead said. "Let's give this city something to talk about. Let's raise $2,500. Let's save a little girl's sight. And let's prove that even Hell's Angels got hearts." The parking lot erupted in the roar of engines revving in agreement. People in the community center looked out windows, eyes wide at the sea of motorcycles and leather-clad riders. Mrs. Jackson appeared at the entrance, Amara beside her. The old woman looked terrified. Amara looked curious, her head tilted, listening to the thunder of 98 Harleys. Marcus walked over to them. "Amara, Mrs. Jackson, I want you to meet my family, my club, the Hell's Angels." "Why are they all here?" Mrs. Jackson asked, her voice shaking. "Because your granddaughter taught me something today. She taught all of us something, that kindness matters, that people matter, that maybe we're not as lost as we thought." Marcus knelt down so he was eye level with Amara. "Amara, you gave me $1. You gave me everything you had. So now we're going to give you something back. We're going to raise money for your surgery. All of us. Together." Amara's unseeing eyes welled with tears. "Really? Really? You saved me today, kid. Let us save you back." Amara reached out, found Marcus's face with her small hands. She traced his features, the scars, the rough beard, the lines of hard living. "You do have kind eyes," she whispered. "I was right." Marcus wrapped his arms around her and cried for the first time in 30 years. Cried for his daughter, for the years he'd wasted, for the man he'd been, for the child he didn't deserve, but who'd saved him anyway. Behind them, 98 Hell's Angels watched their brother break down in the arms of a 7-year-old girl, and every single one of them understood. They'd all been looking for redemption. They'd all been hoping someone would see past the leather and tattoos to the human underneath. And this blind child had done just that. She'd seen what no one else could see, that even Hell's Angels could be saved by love. The news crew showed up the next morning. Marcus was at the clubhouse on 47th Street, working the phones with Snake and Tiny when Ironhead walked in with his phone held up like a weapon. "We're on Channel 7, Ironhead said. "Someone filmed us yesterday. It's everywhere." Marcus grabbed the phone. The video showed 98 motorcycles surrounding the community center, showed him kneeling with Amara, showed grown men on Harleys crying. The caption read, "Hell's Angels launch operation, last dollar for blind girl." "How many views?" Snake asked. 40,000, in 8 hours. Ironhead's expression was unreadable. Phone's been ringing non-stop. People want to donate. People want to help. People want to know if it's real. "It's real," Marcus said quietly. "It's the realest thing I've ever done." His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "This is Marcus." "Is this—" The voice on the other end was female, young, shaking. "Is this Marcus Stone, the Hell's Angel, helping the blind girl?" "Yeah." "Who's this silence?" "Then it's Keisha, your daughter." The phone nearly slipped from Marcus's hand. 23 years. 23 years of silence, of shame, of wondering if she was alive or dead or hating him. And now her voice, real and present, coming through his phone like a ghost made flesh. "Keisha," he breathed. "I saw the news," she said, her voice hard. "I saw you crying over some little girl, promising to save her, being the hero." A pause. "Where was that man when I was 7? Where was he when I needed saving?" Marcus felt the words like bullets. "I'm sorry. God. Keisha, I'm so sorry. Don't." Her voice cracked. "Don't you dare apologize now. Not after 23 years. Not because you got caught on camera doing something decent for once. You don't get to be sorry now." "I know I don't deserve—" "You're right. You don't. You know what I remember about you. Nothing. Literally nothing. Mama wouldn't even keep pictures. She said you were dead to us, and you know what you were. You've been dead to me my whole life." "Keisha, please." "I have a daughter." She said the words coming fast and angry. "She's 6 years old. Her name is Maya. She asks about her grandfather sometimes, the one on Mama's side. He died before she was born. But she never asks about you. You want to know why? Because I never told her about you. Because why would I tell her about a man who abandoned his family? A man who chose drugs and gangs over his own child?" Marcus was crying now silently. His brothers watching him with worried expressions. "You're right. You're absolutely right." "I know I'm right. I've been right for 23 years. Keisha's voice broke completely. "So why can you show up for a stranger's kid, but you couldn't show up for me? What did she have that I didn't? What made her worth saving?" "Nothing," Marcus said through his tears. "Nothing made her worth more than you. She saw something in me I didn't know was still there. She made me remember I used to be human. But you're right, Keisha. I should have been there for you. I should have fought to be in your life. I should have been a father. And I wasn't. And I can't fix that. I can't go back. I can't—" "No, you can't." Keisha was crying too now. "You can't fix it. You can't undo it. You're just gone. You're just this absence. This hole where a father should have been." "I know. Good. I'm glad you know." She took a shaking breath. "I'm in Chicago. I work at Northwestern Memorial. I'm a nurse. I got my degree while working 2 jobs because Mama couldn't afford to help me. I raised myself. So don't you dare think that helping some random kid makes up for anything." "I don't," Marcus said. "I know it doesn't. I have to go. I needed you to hear that. I needed you to know that I saw your redemption story on TV and it made me sick. You don't get redemption. You just get to live with what you did." "Wait, Keisha, please." But she'd already hung up. Marcus stood there with the phone against his ear, listening to dead air, feeling his heart shatter all over again. His brothers said nothing. What could they say? Keisha was right. She was right about everything. "That was your daughter?" Ironhead asked gently. Marcus nodded, unable to speak. "She hate you. Completely. Can't blame her." Ironhead put a heavy hand on Marcus's shoulder. "But maybe this is part of it, brother. Maybe this is what facing your past looks like. It ain't pretty. It ain't forgiveness. But it's real." "She said I don't get redemption," Marcus whispered. "Maybe you don't. Or maybe redemption doesn't look like what you thought. Maybe it looks like doing the right thing, even when the people you hurt don't forgive you. even when you don't get the happy ending. Ironhead squeezed his shoulder. You still want to save that little girl's sight? More than ever. Then let's get to work. By day 3, Operation Last Dollar had raised $800 through a GoFundMe Snake had set up. By day 5, it was at $1,500. Churches started calling, community organizations, even a few cops, which made everyone at the clubhouse tense until Ironhead reminded them they were trying to save a kid, not settle old scores. Marcus spent every spare moment at the community center, ostensibly to coordinate with Mrs. Jackson, but really because being around Amara made him feel less like the monster his daughter saw. The little girl would find him wherever he was. Her hearing was so acute, it was almost supernatural, and she'd sit with him and talk about everything and nothing. Tell me about motorcycles, she said one afternoon. They were in the center's library. Amara's fingers moving over a braille book about animals while Marcus supposedly reviewed donation spreadsheets. What do you want to know? What does it feel like riding one? Marcus thought about it. It feels like flying, like the world can't touch you, like you're powerful and free and nothing else matters except the road and the wind and the engine under you. That sounds nice, Amara said wistfully. I'd like to feel free like that. You want to sit on my bike sometime? I won't start it or anything. Just sit. Feel what it's like. Really? Her face lit up. Nana would kill you. Probably, but I'll risk it. They snuck out to the parking lot. Amara's hand in his, her white cane tapping ahead of her. Marcus's Harley sat in its usual spot, chrome gleaming even in the weak December sun. He lifted Amara onto the seat, her small body barely making a dent in the leather. Oh, she breathed. It's so big. I can feel the power in it. Even not moving, I can feel it. That's a 1978 Harley Shovelhead, Marcus said, pride in his voice. Rebuilt her myself. New engine, new transmission, custom paint job. Not that you can see it, but it's beautiful. Black with silver flames. I bet it is. Amara ran her hands over the handlebars, the mirrors, the tank. Can I sit here while you tell me about your club? I want to know why you all dress the same and ride together. Nana says it's because you're a gang, but you don't seem like a gang to me. You seem like a family. Marcus felt his throat tighten. We are a family. Most of us, we don't got regular families. We got kicked out or we left or we burned those bridges. So we found each other, made our own family. It ain't perfect. We fight, we mess up, but we show up for each other. That's what family does. Is that why you all showed up for me, because you're used to showing up? Yeah, kid, that's exactly why. Marcus, Amara's voice got quiet. Why did you leave your real daughter? The question knocked the wind out of him. How did you? I heard you on the phone 3 days ago. You were crying. I hear everything, remember. Marcus sat on the ground beside the bike, his back against the tire, and told Amara the truth. About the drugs, about the drinking, about the anger and the violence and the prison time, about being so broken he couldn't see straight, couldn't think straight, couldn't be anything but a danger to everyone around him, including especially a 2-year-old girl who deserved better. So I left, he finished. Told myself she was better off without me. And she was. She is. She grew up to be a nurse. She's smart and strong, and she made something of herself, without me. But she's sad, Amara said. I can tell from how you talked about the phone call. She's sad that you weren't there. I know. Are you going to try to fix it? I don't know if I can. Some things are too broken to fix. Amara was quiet for a moment, her hands still on the handlebars. Then, Nana says nothing's too broken if you're willing to do the work. But you got to be willing, and you got to be patient, and you got to keep showing up even when it's hard, even when the other person doesn't want you to. Your Nana's a wise woman. She is. She also says if you hurt me, she'll run you over with your own motorcycle. Marcus laughed despite himself. I believe her. The turning point came on day 8. Marcus was at the clubhouse when his phone rang again. Same unknown number. His heart jumped into his throat. Keisha, don't get excited. I'm not calling to forgive you. But her voice was softer than before, less jagged. I'm calling because my daughter Maya, she saw the news story. She's been asking questions. What kind of questions? About you, about why a Hell's Angel is helping a blind girl, about whether all bikers are bad or if some are good. Keisha paused. She wants to help. She wants to donate her piggy bank money. $37. She's been saving it for a year for a dollhouse. Marcus felt tears spring to his eyes. She doesn't have to. I know she doesn't have to, but she wants to. And I can't explain to a 6-year-old why her grandfather is saving a stranger's child but was never there for me. I can't hold on to all this anger when she's looking at me with those big eyes asking if we can help the blind girl too. Keisha. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to come down to that community center tomorrow. Maya's going to give her donation, and you're going to meet her. Once. Just once. And then, I don't know. I don't know what happens then. Thank you, Marcus whispered. Thank you for even considering. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for Maya. She deserves to make her own choices about who you are. I won't poison her against you the way Mama poisoned me. But Marcus, if you hurt her, if you disappoint her, if you do to her what you did to me, I will destroy you. Do you understand? I understand. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Don't be late. She hung up. Marcus sat staring at his phone, his hands shaking so hard he nearly dropped it. His daughter was bringing his granddaughter, a granddaughter he'd never known existed until a week ago, to meet him. Tomorrow. In less than 24 hours. Brother, you okay? Snake asked. You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm meeting my granddaughter tomorrow, Marcus said numbly. I didn't even know I had a granddaughter until now. 6 years old. Her name's Maya. The clubhouse went silent. Every Hell's Angel in the room understood the weight of this moment. Most of them had kids they didn't see, grandkids they'd never met. This was every absent father's impossible dream. Don't screw it up, Ironhead said simply. How do I not screw it up? You show up. You be honest. You let her see who you are, good and bad. And you don't make promises you can't keep. Ironhead lit a cigarette. Kids smell bullshit a mile away. They respect honesty even when it's ugly. What if she hates me? Then she hates you. But at least she'll know you tried. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He cleaned his bike until the chrome gleamed. He washed his leather jacket, tried to scrub out the smell of cigarettes and motor oil. He even trimmed his beard, which made the guys at the clubhouse mock him mercilessly. Never seen Reaper nervous before, Tiny teased. It's cute. Shut up. You want us there, Snake asked. For support. Marcus thought about it. 98 bikers might be overwhelming for a 6-year-old, but the idea of facing his daughter alone terrified him. Maybe a few of you, in the background, just in case. We got you, brother, Ironhead said. At 1:45 the next day, Marcus stood outside the community center. 6 of his closest club brothers arranged casually around the parking lot, trying to look non-threatening while wearing leather and tattoos. Mrs. Jackson had agreed to let them use a conference room. Amara was somewhere inside with her grandmother, probably listening to every word anyone said within a 100-foot radius. At exactly 2 o'clock, a Honda Civic pulled into the parking lot. Marcus's heart stopped. A woman got out, 30-something, beautiful with his eyes and her mother's cheekbones. She was wearing scrubs like she'd come straight from work. She looked exhausted and weary, and so much like the 2-year-old he'd left behind that Marcus had to grab his bike to stay upright. Then the back door opened and a little girl emerged. Maya was small for 6, with her hair in braids like Amara's, wearing a pink winter coat and light-up sneakers. She carried a clear plastic bag full of coins and crumpled dollar bills. She looked at Marcus with open curiosity, no fear at all. "Mama, is that him?" she asked. "Yes, baby, that's your grandfather." Keisha's voice was tight. She kept herself between Maya and Marcus, protective. "He's big," Maya observed. "And he has lots of pictures on his arms. Are those tattoos? Daddy has a tattoo?" Yeah, sweetness. Those are tattoos, Marcus said, his voice barely working. I got most of them a long time ago. Some of them I wish I hadn't gotten. Mama says tattoos tell stories. What stories do yours tell? Keisha looked like she wanted to intervene, but something stopped her. Maybe she wanted to hear this too. Marcus knelt down so he was at Maya's level. Some of these tattoos tell stories about times I was angry, times I hurt people, times I made bad choices. Some of them are about friends I lost, people who died because of the life we lived. They're not happy stories mostly. They're reminders of who I was. Who are you now? Maya asked. The question, simple and direct from a 6-year-old, hit Marcus harder than his daughter's anger had. Who was he? Now, was he different? Or was he just the same broken man doing one good thing to make himself feel better? I'm trying to be better, he said honestly. I don't know if I am better, but I'm trying. That's all I got. Maya considered this. Then she held out her bag of money. This is for the blind girl, so she can see. Mama says seeing is important, but seeing with your heart is more important. Do you see with your heart? I'm learning to, Marcus said. He took the bag, his hands shaking. This is real generous of you, Maya. Thank you. You're welcome. Can I meet her? The blind girl. Keisha tensed. Maya, I don't think... Please, Mama, I want to tell her I helped. I want her to know people care. Marcus looked at his daughter. It's okay with me if it's okay with you. Mrs. Jackson's inside with her. She's real protective, but she'll probably let her come out for a minute. Keisha looked like she wanted to refuse, like she wanted to grab her daughter and run. But Maya was already tugging toward the door, excited and generous and completely unafraid, just like Amara had been with Marcus. Fine, Keisha said. But we're staying right here, and if anything feels wrong, then you leave. No questions asked. Marcus stood. I'll go get her. He walked inside his brothers, falling into step behind him, a protective formation they'd used 1,000 times. Mrs. Jackson was in the lobby with Amara, both of them looking nervous. Is she here? Amara asked, her head tilted. I heard a car door. Is it his daughter? Yeah, kid, she's here, and she brought my granddaughter, Maya. She's 6. She wants to meet you. Really? Amara's face lit up. She wants to meet me. She donated her piggy bank money to your surgery fund. $37. She saved it for a year. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She did that for me. People are good, Amara. You taught me that. Now other people are learning it too. Marcus held out his hand. Come on, let's go say thank you. They walked outside together, Amara's hand in his, her cane tapping a rhythm on the concrete. Maya saw them and gasped. Mama, look. She has a stick like Grandma Dorothy had before she died. It's called a white cane baby, Keisha said softly. It helps her know where she's going. Maya walked right up to Amara, no hesitation. Hi, I'm Maya. I gave my piggy bank money for your eyes. Are your eyes sick? Hi, Maya. Yes, they're sick. But the doctors can fix them if I have surgery. Your money is going to help with that. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Maya reached out and touched Amara's face the way kids do. You can't see me. No, but I can hear you really well. You have a happy voice. It sounds like sunshine. Maya giggled. That's silly. Sunshine doesn't make sounds. It does to me. Everything makes sounds if you listen right. The two girls sat down on the bench, the same bench where Marcus and Amara had first met, and started talking about school and favorite foods and Christmas wishes. Maya showed Amara her light-up sneakers by describing how they flashed. Amara showed Maya how to read Braille by letting her feel the dots. Marcus and Keisha stood watching an awkward distance between them. She's beautiful, Marcus said quietly. You did good, Keisha. You're a good mother. I had to be. I didn't have a choice. Keisha's voice was sharp, but there were tears in her eyes. You made sure of that. I know. I'm sorry doesn't cover it. I'm sorry doesn't even touch it. But I am sorry. Every day. Every single day. You know what the worst part is? Keisha turned to him, and Marcus saw his daughter, really saw her for the first time in 23 years. Saw the pain and anger and exhaustion and strength. The worst part is that you're not the monster I wanted you to be. I wanted you to be evil. I wanted you to be irredeemable, because then I could hate you cleanly. But you're just broken. You're just a broken man who made broken choices, and that's harder to hate. You got every right to hate me. I know I do. But Maya doesn't. Maya looks at you and sees a grandfather who helps blind girls. She doesn't see the man who abandoned me. She doesn't know that story yet. And watching her, Keisha wiped her eyes. Watching her be so open and trusting with you kills me, because I used to be like that. Before I learned not to trust you. I won't hurt her, Marcus said fiercely. I swear to God, Keisha, whatever happens between us, I won't hurt that little girl. You can't promise that. Nobody can promise that. People always hurt each other. Keisha watched Maya laugh at something Amara said. But maybe you can try. Maybe trying is enough. Before Marcus could respond, Mrs. Jackson appeared at his elbow. She'd been standing back, watching, evaluating. Mr. Stone, she said formally. Can I speak to you for a moment? Marcus excused himself and followed Mrs. Jackson into the center's lobby. She turned on him, her expression unreadable. I've been watching you, she said. These past 8 days. Watching how you are with my grandbaby. Watching your club brothers. Watching all these rough men turn gentle around a blind child. Ma'am, I'm not finished. I've also been watching your daughter out there. Watching how she looks at you. And I recognize that look. You know why. Because I wore that look for 30 years. My husband Amara's grandfather, he left when our youngest was 5. Walked out and never came back. And I spent 3 decades being angry about it. Being righteous about it. Being right about it. Mrs. Jackson's eyes were wet. And you know what that righteousness got me? Nothing. It didn't bring him back. It didn't heal my kids. It just made me hard. Made me suspicious of every man who came near us. Made me lonely in ways I didn't even recognize until he died 20 years after he left. And I realized I'd spent all that time hating a ghost. I'm not saying your daughter should forgive you, she continued. Maybe she never will. Maybe she shouldn't. But I'm telling you what I learned too late. Anger doesn't protect us. Love protects us. And sometimes love means letting people try to be better, even when they don't deserve it. Marcus couldn't speak, could barely breathe. You save my grandbaby's sight, Mrs. Jackson said firmly, and I'll consider us even. You keep showing up for Amara, for your granddaughter, for whoever needs you, and maybe that's enough. Maybe redemption isn't about the people we hurt forgiving us. Maybe it's about not hurting anyone else ever again. She walked away, leaving Marcus standing in the lobby, feeling like he'd been hit by a truck and healed by an angel at the same time. By day 10, the GoFundMe had raised $2,300. They were so close Marcus could taste it. But donations had slowed to a trickle. They needed $200 more, and they needed it fast. The surgery was scheduled for December 23rd, just 5 days away. We're going to have to dip into club funds, Snake said at church that night. It's the only way. Club funds are for club business. One of the newer members, a guy called Razor, objected. We got bail money in there, legal fees, emergency fund for brothers who need it. We can't just give it away. It's $200, Marcus said. We got more than that in the safe right now. That's not the point. The point is precedent. We start using club money for charity, where does it stop? Ironhead stood, silencing the room. Brother Reaper called in his marker. That means the club owes him. That means we do this. Anyone got a problem with that, there's the door. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Razor looked like he wanted to argue, but thought better of it. Motion passes, Ironhead said. We covered the last 200. Surgery's a go. Marcus felt something break open in his chest. Thank you. All of you. Thank you. Don't thank us yet, Tiny said. We still got to get through the surgery. Kids got to make it. Then you can thank us. Marcus called Mrs. Jackson that night, told her they had the full amount. She cried so hard she couldn't speak. He heard Amara in the background asking what was wrong. Heard Mrs. Jackson tell her granddaughter that her surgery was happening, that she might keep some of her sight, that miracles were real. "Mr. Stone," Mrs. Jackson said, when she could talk again, "I don't know how to repay you." "You don't have to. Just let me be there, for the surgery, in the waiting room. I need to know she's okay." "We'll be there," Mrs. Jackson said. "All of us." Marcus hung up and sat in the darkness of his apartment, a studio above a Mexican restaurant sparsely furnished, smelling like carnitas and loneliness. He'd lived here for 6 years, ever since his last prison stint. It wasn't much, but it was his. He pulled out his phone, stared at Keisha's number for a long time, then texted, "Surgery's on for the 23rd. If you and Maya want to be there, we'd love to see you." He didn't expect a response. Was shocked when his phone buzzed 30 seconds later. "What time?" 7 a.m. Children's Memorial. "We'll be there." Marcus stared at those 3 words until they blurred. His daughter was coming. His daughter, who hated him, was going to show up, was going to be present for this moment that had somehow become about more than just one little girl's surgery. It had become about second chances, about chosen families, about 98 criminals, and one blind child teaching each other what love looked like when you'd forgotten how to recognize it. Marcus lay down on his mattress on the floor, fully clothed, and slept for the first time in 10 days without nightmares. December 23rd arrived with freezing rain that turned Chicago's streets into skating rinks. Marcus was at Children's Memorial by 5:30 in the morning, 2 hours early, unable to stay away. He sat in the surgical waiting room alone, his leather jacket still wet, his hands shaking from more than cold. By 6 other Hell's Angels started arriving. Snake and Tiny first, then Ironhead with coffee for everyone, then more brothers until 20 bikers filled the waiting room, making families with sick kids stare nervously. Marcus wanted to tell them they were safe, that his brothers wouldn't hurt anyone, but the words stuck in his throat. Mrs. Jackson arrived at 6:15 with Amara, who was wearing her pink coat and holding her grandmother's hand so tight her knuckles were white. "Marcus!" Amara called out the moment they entered. Her hearing was terrifying sometimes. "I'm here, kid." Marcus crossed to them, knelt down. "How you feeling?" "Scared," Amara admitted. Her voice was smaller than he'd ever heard it. "What if something goes wrong? What if I wake up and I can't see anything at all? What if I'm worse than before?" "Then we'll figure it out," Marcus said firmly. "You won't be alone. You got your Nana, you got me. You got 98 Hell's Angels who care about you. We're not going anywhere. Promise. I promise, kid. We show up. That's what we do." A nurse called Amara's name. Mrs. Jackson stood, her face pale, looking every one of her 72 years. "Mr. Stone, would you mind coming back with us just until they take her to the operating room?" Marcus looked at the nurse, who frowned but nodded. He followed them through double doors into pre-op, where Amara changed into a hospital gown that swallowed her small frame. She sat on the gurney, her legs dangling, looking more like 5 than 7. "I need you to be brave," Mrs. Jackson told her granddaughter, but her own voice was breaking. "The doctors are going to help you. You just need to trust them." "I'm trying, Nana." Amara's hands twisted in her lap. "Can Marcus hold my hand?" Marcus took her hand without hesitation. Her fingers were ice cold. "I got you." The anesthesiologist came in, explained what would happen. Amara would get medicine to make her sleep. They'd repair the detached retina. She'd wake up with bandages over both eyes that would stay on for 3 days. After that, they'd know if the surgery worked. 3 days? Amara's voice went high. "I have to wait 3 days to know." "I know it's scary," the anesthesiologist said gently, "but we need to let your eye heal before we remove the bandages. Can you be patient?" "I'll try." They wheeled her gurney toward the operating room. Marcus walked alongside, still holding her hand. At the door, he had to let go. Amara's fingers clutched at him desperately. "Don't leave. Please don't leave." "I'm not leaving. I'm going to be right here in that waiting room until you wake up. I promise you, Amara. I'm not going anywhere. You swear on my life." The doors closed. Amara disappeared behind them. Marcus stood staring at those doors until Mrs. Jackson touched his arm. Come on. We have to wait now. That's the hardest part, the waiting. They walked back to the waiting room where 20 Hell's Angels sat surrounded by normal families, everyone pretending the situation wasn't surreal. Marcus checked his phone. 6:45. Keisha had said 7. Maybe she wasn't coming. Maybe she'd changed her mind. Then the elevator doors opened and Keisha stepped out, Maya beside her. Marcus's granddaughter was wearing the same light-up sneakers her hand in her mother's, her eyes searching the waiting room until they landed on Marcus. She smiled and waved. Keisha didn't smile, but she didn't leave either. They crossed the waiting room, families parting nervously around the woman and child approaching a biker gang. Maya climbed right into the chair next to Marcus, completely fearless. Is Amara getting her eyes fixed? Maya asked. Yeah, sweetness. Right now. The doctors are fixing them. Good. I prayed for her last night. Mama says God listens to kids' prayers special. Marcus looked at Keisha, who was staring determinedly at the wall. That's real kind of you, Maya. I'm sure Amara appreciated it. Mama, can I give him the picture I drew? Sure, baby. Maya pulled out a folded piece of paper. Marcus opened it to find a crayon drawing of 2 stick figures, one with yellow hair, one with brown hair and braids. They were holding hands under a rainbow. That's me and Amara, Maya explained. We're friends now. Friends hold hands. Marcus had to look away before he lost it completely. It's beautiful. I'll give it to her when she wakes up. Keisha finally looked at him. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. Maya talked about nothing but Amara all week. She wants to have a play date when Amara's recovered. I told her we'd see. Anytime, Marcus said. Seriously, anytime. Don't make promises you can't keep, Keisha said quietly. You're good at that. Before Marcus could respond, Maya spoke up. Mama, why are you mad at him? The waiting room went silent. Every Hell's Angel suddenly found something else to look at. Keisha's face went stiff. Baby, it's complicated. But why? He's helping people. He helped Amara. He's nice. He wasn't always nice, Keisha said carefully. A long time ago, he made choices that hurt people. Hurt me. Maya looked at Marcus with those serious 6-year-old eyes. Did you say sorry? I did, Marcus said. But sometimes sorry isn't enough. Mama says we always have to forgive people who say sorry and mean it. Maya looked between them, confused. Do you mean it? More than anything in my whole life. Then Mama should forgive you. Maya said it like it was the simplest thing in the world. Like forgiveness was easy, like love was automatic, like people could just choose to be okay. It's not that simple, Maya. Keisha said, her voice tight. Why not? Because he left me. He left me when I was littler than you and I needed him and he just disappeared. But he's here now, Maya pointed out with devastating child logic. He's here helping Amara. He's here with us. Maybe he's not disappeared anymore. Keisha looked at Marcus with something between rage and grief. You don't get to do this. You don't get to use my daughter to get to me. I'm not... Marcus started, but Snake's voice cut through. Keisha, right. Snake had moved closer, his expression gentle. I'm Snake. I've known Reaper Marcus for 15 years, since he got out of Stateville. And I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear, but need to hear anyway. Don't, Marcus said. Snake, don't. Your father's been carrying your picture in his wallet since the day I met him, Snake continued. One of those school photos from when you were maybe 6 or 7. He looks at it every single day. I've watched him. Every morning he takes it out and looks at it. Sometimes he cries. Sometimes he just stares, but he never forgets you. Keisha's eyes filled with tears. That doesn't mean anything. That's just guilt. Maybe. But guilt means he cares. Guilt means he knows he messed up. And for what it's worth, I ain't never seen him even look at another kid until Amara. Not once. He kept his distance from everyone under 18 like they were radioactive, until that little blind girl offered him $1 and broke something open in him. Why are you telling me this? Keisha whispered. Because your kid's right. He's here now. And you can spend the rest of your life punishing him for what he did and you'd be justified. Or you can let him try. Just try. That's all I'm saying. Ironhead's phone buzzed. He checked it and stood abruptly. We got a problem. Channel 7 is downstairs. Someone tipped them off that we're all here. They want to do a story about the Hells Angels saving the blind girl. Absolutely not, Mrs. Jackson said immediately. Amara's in surgery. This is not a publicity opportunity. Agreed, Marcus said. Tell them to leave. They're saying they won't leave until they get a statement. Hospital security's with them. Ironhead looked frustrated. Press is protected. We can't make them go. Then I'll talk to them, Keisha said suddenly. Everyone stared at her. What? I'm a nurse. I work here. I have credentials. They'll listen to me. You don't have to do that, Marcus said. I know I don't. But Maya's right. You're here. You showed up. And maybe... Keisha's voice cracked. Maybe that means something. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm not going to let reporters harass you while you're waiting to see if a 7-year-old keeps her sight. She stood, squeezed Maya's shoulder, and walked to the elevator. Marcus watched her go, his heart doing something complicated in his chest. Your daughter's a fighter, Snake observed. Wonder where she got that. Her mother, Marcus said. Everything good in her came from her mother. 20 minutes passed. 40, an hour. Mrs. Jackson sat with her Bible lips moving in silent prayer. The Hells Angels played cards half-heartedly, trying to act casual. Maya colored in a coloring book a nurse had given her, occasionally asking Marcus questions about motorcycles. At 8:30, Keisha returned. Her face was flushed, her eyes bright with something Marcus couldn't identify. They're gone, she said. Told them if they didn't leave, I'd report them for HIPAA violations and have their credentials pulled. Hospital administration backed me up. Thank you, Marcus said. Don't thank me yet. They're going to air the story tonight whether we cooperate or not, but at least they're not here making everything worse. Keisha sat back down, but this time she sat next to Marcus instead of 3 chairs away. Small progress, microscopic, but progress. At 9:15, a doctor emerged in surgical scrubs. Everyone stood at once. Family for Amara Jackson. Mrs. Jackson stumbled forward. Marcus followed without thinking. So did Keisha and Maya. So did 20 Hells Angels. The doctor looked at the crowd, blinked, and focused on Mrs. Jackson. The surgery went well. We were able to reattach the retina in her right eye. She's in recovery now. Still under anesthesia, but stable. Mrs. Jackson's knees buckled. Marcus caught her, held her up while she sobbed into his shoulder. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. How much vision will she have? Marcus asked. The doctor's expression became carefully neutral. We won't know until we remove the bandages in 3 days. Best case scenario, she regains maybe 30 to 40% vision in that eye. Worst case, she hesitated. Worst case, the surgery didn't take and she loses everything. But she made it through the procedure beautifully. She's a fighter. Can we see her? Mrs. Jackson asked. Once she's awake, probably another hour. We'll come get you. The doctor left. Mrs. Jackson was still crying. Marcus was crying. Half the Hells Angels were crying. Maya looked up at Keisha with wide eyes. Mama, why is everyone crying if the surgery went good? Because we were scared, baby, and now we're relieved. Sometimes crying is how we let out all those feelings. Is Amara going to be okay? We hope so, Keisha said. We really hope so. At 10:30, they were allowed back to recovery. Only 2 visitors at a time, so Mrs. Jackson and Marcus went first. Amara was so small in the hospital bed, her eyes covered with thick bandages and IV in her arm. But she was awake, her head turning toward their footsteps. Nana, I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Mrs. Jackson took her granddaughter's hand. How do you feel? Sleepy, and my eye hurts. Not bad, but like it knows something happened to it. The surgery went well, Mrs. Jackson said. Dr. Chen says you were very brave. Is Marcus there? I can't hear him. I'm here, kid. Marcus moved to the other side of the bed. Told you I'd be here when you woke up. You kept your promise. I always will. Amara was quiet for a moment. Marcus, I'm scared. What if I can't see anything when they take the bandages off? What if I'm just dark forever? Marcus felt his chest tighten. He looked at Mrs. Jackson, who nodded permission for what he was about to say. Then you'll still be the smartest, bravest, kindest person I know. You'll still be the girl who offered a stranger her last dollar. You'll still be the one who taught a broken old biker that people can be good. Sight or no sight, you're perfect exactly as you are. You mean that with my whole heart. Okay, Amara whispered. Okay, I can be brave 3 more days. They stayed until Amara fell back asleep, then returned to the waiting room. Keisha and Maya went back next, then Mrs. Jackson went back alone. By noon, they were allowed to take Amara home with strict instructions about medication and keeping the bandages dry. The Hells Angels escorted them in a convoy of 20 motorcycles riding slow through Chicago streets, engines rumbling low and protective. News helicopters followed them. People came out of houses to watch. By the time they reached the community center, there were 500 people waiting. Marcus froze. What is this? The neighborhood, Snake said, grinning. Word got out. They want to show support. Families lined the sidewalk. People held signs praying for Amara and Angels Among Us and Thank You Hells Angels. There were black families and white families and Latino families and Asian families. There were police officers, actual cops standing respectfully to the side. There were priests and rabbis and an imam. Mrs. Jackson got out of Ironhead's truck, where she'd ridden with Amara, tears streaming down her face. I don't understand. All these people... Your grandbaby's story went viral, a woman explained. She was holding a toddler. Everyone's been following it. The little blind girl who gave her last dollar to a biker. The Hells Angels who raised money for her surgery. It's been on every news channel. People drove from Indiana just to be here when she came home. Amara, awake but bandaged, reached out. Marcus, are there a lot of people? Yeah, kid, hundreds. They're all here for you. Why? Because you reminded everyone what matters. You reminded us all how to be human. The crowd parted as Marcus carried Amara inside Mrs. Jackson right behind him, the Hells Angels forming a protective wall. Upstairs in the Jacksons' apartment, a small 2-bedroom that Marcus was seeing for the first time, they settled Amara into her bed. I need to get back to work, Mrs. Jackson said reluctantly. I already missed this morning's shift. If I miss tonight too, they might let me go. I'll stay with her, Marcus offered immediately. If that's okay with you. Mrs. Jackson looked at him for a long time. You'll call me if anything changes. Anything at all. The second anything happens. And you won't leave her alone, not even for a minute. Not even for a second. Mrs. Jackson kissed Amara's forehead, squeezed Marcus's shoulder, and left for work. Marcus sat in a chair by Amara's bed, listening to her breathe, watching her chest rise and fall. His phone buzzed. Keisha. Maya wants to know if she can visit Amara tomorrow. Marcus's fingers shook as he typed back, Anytime. I'll be here. You really mean that you're going to stay? I'm not going anywhere, not ever again. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, we'll see. It was the closest thing to hope Marcus had gotten from his daughter. He'd take it. Amara stirred her hand, reaching out. Marcus took it. I'm here. Tell me a story, she whispered. About being free. About riding motorcycles. I want to feel free. So Marcus told her about the open road, about wind in your face and the world falling away and the feeling that nothing could touch you. He told her about his first bike, about learning to ride, about the day he realized that freedom wasn't about running away, it was about having something worth staying for. Am I worth staying for? Amara asked. You're worth everything, kid. At 3 in the afternoon, Marcus's phone rang. Unknown number. His stomach dropped. Not another reporter. Please, not another reporter. Hello, Mr. Stone. This is Jennifer Watkins from the Chicago Community Foundation. I've been watching your story on the news. The Hells Angels helping the blind girl. It's remarkable. Thank you, ma'am, but I can't really talk right now. I'll be brief. We want to make a donation. to help with Amara's ongoing medical care and education expenses. $20,000. Marcus nearly dropped the phone. I'm sorry, what? 20,000. And we'd like to discuss establishing a permanent fund for children with disabilities in underserved communities. Using your story, Amara's story, as a foundation. We think you've started something important here. We want to help it grow. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll meet with us. Say you'll let us turn this moment into a movement. Marcus looked at Amara, sleeping in her bed, bandages, covering her eyes, breathing steady and peaceful. He thought about his daughter and granddaughter downstairs, about 98 Hell's Angels who'd shown up for a stranger's child, about Mrs. Jackson working 3 jobs at 72, about 500 people lining the streets to welcome home a blind girl they'd never met. Yes, he said. Yes to all of it. When he hung up, he sat in the chair and cried, not sad tears, not guilty tears, but tears of something he hadn't felt in 23 years and barely recognized. Purpose. He had a purpose again. He mattered again. And it had all started with one blind 7-year-old offering him $1 she couldn't afford to give. Amara woke up at 6, groggy and confused. Marcus. Still here, kid. My eye really hurts now. I know. Dr. Chen said that's normal. You need pain medicine. Yeah. He gave her the prescribed dose, helped her drink water through a straw, adjusted her pillows. She reached out and found his hand. Marcus, tell me what you look like. I know you're big and you have tattoos, but I want to know everything. I want to see you in my head. So Marcus described himself. The gray in his beard, the scars on his knuckles from fights he regretted, the tattoo on his neck of a skull with roses gotten when he was 19 and stupid, the wrinkles around his eyes from years of squinting into sun and wind, the missing tooth from a bar fight in Milwaukee, all the damage, all the wear, all the evidence of a life lived hard and wrong. You sound handsome, Amara said when he finished. Marcus laughed, startled. Kid, I'm a lot of things, but handsome ain't one of them. You are to me, because you're kind, and kind people are always beautiful. He sat there holding her hand until she fell back asleep, thinking about a 7-year-old blind girl who saw beauty in a Hell's Angel, and wondering how he'd gotten lucky enough to meet her, wondering what he'd done to deserve this second chance, and praying, actually praying for the first time since he was a child, that he wouldn't waste it. Keisha texted at 8. Is Amara okay? Sleeping. Pain's managed. She's tough. Like you. Marcus stared at those 2 words for 5 full minutes. No. He finally wrote back. Better than me. So much better. Maybe, Keisha responded. Or maybe she's bringing out who you were always supposed to be. Marcus read that message 20 times. Read it until the words blurred. Read it until he believed, just barely, just maybe, that it might be true. That Amara hadn't found a monster in the snow that December day. She'd found a man. A broken one. A wrong one. But a man who was still capable of becoming something better. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. 3 days felt like 3 years. Marcus slept in the chair by Amara's bed, went home only to shower and change, then came right back. Mrs. Jackson tried to send him away, told him he needed rest, that he'd done enough, but he couldn't leave. Wouldn't leave. He'd made a promise, and he was keeping it. On Christmas Eve morning, Keisha showed up with Maya and 2 bags of groceries. Nana called me, Keisha said, not quite meeting Marcus's eyes. Said you've been here 72 hours straight eating nothing but vending machine food. So I brought real food. And before you say anything, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for Mrs. Jackson and Amara. Okay, Marcus said carefully. Also, Maya wouldn't stop asking when we could visit, so here we are. Maya ran straight to Amara's bedside. Hi, it's me. Can you hear me? Amara's head turned. Maya, you came back. I brought you a present. Mama said I couldn't give it to you until tomorrow, but I can tell you what it is. It's a stuffed dog, a golden retriever. His name is Sunshine because you said my voice sounds like sunshine. Amara's face lit up despite the bandages. That's the best present ever. Keisha started unpacking groceries in the tiny kitchen, banging pots harder than necessary. Marcus followed her, keeping his distance but close enough to talk quietly. Thank you for coming, for bringing Maya, for the food, for everything. Don't read too much into it, Keisha said sharply. I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. But Maya loves that little girl in there, and Mrs. Jackson has been nothing but kind to us, and you... She stopped, took a breath. You're still here. You keep showing up, and I don't know what to do with that. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't owe me forgiveness. You don't owe me anything. I know I don't. Keisha pulled out a container of soup. But watching you with Amara, it makes me remember things. Things I thought I'd forgotten. You singing to me when I was little. Your voice. I don't remember your face, but I remember your voice. Marcus felt his throat close. You were 2. I didn't think you'd remember anything. I remember feelings. I remember feeling safe. And then I remember that feeling going away and never coming back. Keisha looked at him finally, her eyes wet. Until now. Watching you with her, I feel something. Not safe, exactly. But like maybe I could feel safe again. Someday. If you don't disappear. I won't disappear. You can't promise that. People die. People leave. People break promises. Then I'll promise what I can promise. I'll promise to show up every single day I'm alive. I'll promise to be honest even when it's hard. I'll promise to never lie to you or Maya. And if I break those promises, you can walk away and I won't fight you. Keisha wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Why her? Why could you do this for a stranger's kid, but not for me? Because I was 23 and broken and didn't know how to love anyone, including myself, Marcus said. Because I was high or drunk or both every day. Because I was in and out of jail and couldn't hold a job, and your mama was right to kick me out. Because I was too much of a coward to get clean and be a father. Because I was everything wrong with the world. And now I'm 52 and still broken but learning how to live with it. Now I've been sober 16 years. Now I know what I lost and can't get back. Now I met a 7-year-old girl who saw past all my damage and gave me $1 and made me want to be better. Now I have something to show up for. So it took a blind child to make you care. No, it took a blind child to make me remember I was capable of caring. There's a difference. Marcus's voice broke. I thought about you every day, Keisha. Every single day for 23 years. I just didn't think you wanted me thinking about you. Didn't think I had the right. You didn't have the right, Keisha said. But you had the responsibility. And you gave up that responsibility when you left. I know. They stood in the kitchen, the silence heavy between them, when Amara called out. Marcus, tomorrow's Christmas, right? Yeah, kid, tomorrow. Are you going to be here when they take the bandages off? Marcus looked at Keisha, who nodded almost imperceptibly. Wouldn't miss it for anything. Good, because I'm really scared. And I need you here. That night after Keisha and Maya left, after Mrs. Jackson fell asleep in the other bedroom after the community center went quiet, Marcus sat by Amara's bed and thought about Christmas. He hadn't celebrated in years what was there to celebrate. But tomorrow they'd know. Tomorrow they'd find out if the surgery worked. Tomorrow everything would change one way or another. His phone buzzed. Snake. Brother, you need to see the news. Turn on channel 7. Marcus found the remote, turned on the small TV in Amara's room, volume low. The news anchor was standing outside the community center. In an incredible story that's captured hearts across the nation, 7-year-old Amara Jackson will find out tomorrow if experimental surgery has saved her partial vision. The surgery was funded entirely by donations after local Hells Angels chapter launched Operation Last Dollar, named for the dollar Amara tried to give to biker Marcus Stone. But the story doesn't end there. The Chicago Community Foundation has announced a $20,000 donation to Amara's ongoing care, and over 40 other organizations have pledged support. Total donations now exceed $150,000. Marcus stared at the screen. $150,000. They'd needed $2,500, and people had given $150,000. What does this mean? He asked Snake, still on the phone. It means you started something, brother, something bigger than just one girl. Ironhead's been fielding calls all day. Other chapters want to do their own Operation Last Dollar events. People want to donate to other kids. They want to know how they can help. You opened something up, Reaper. You showed people that Hell's Angels aren't just criminals. We're human, and that matters. I didn't do it for publicity. I know you didn't. That's why it matters. You did it because a little girl needed help. Everything else, that's just the world responding to something real. Marcus hung up and looked at Amara sleeping. $150,000. Enough for her education, her medical care, her future, all because she'd offered him $1. All because she'd seen him when he was invisible. Christmas morning arrived bright and cold. Dr. Chen was scheduled to remove Amara's bandages at 10. By 9, the Jacksons' small apartment was packed. Mrs. Jackson, Marcus, Keisha, Maya, Ironhead, Snake, Tiny. Dr. Chen arrived at 9:30 with a nurse. Before we do this, Dr. Chen said gently, I need everyone to understand the possibilities. Best case, Amara has regained 30 to 40% vision in her right eye. She'll see shapes, colors, some detail. Worst case, the surgery didn't take and she's lost the remaining vision she had. There's also a middle ground where she has some vision but less than before. We won't know until we remove the bandages. I understand, Amara said. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. Can Marcus hold my hand? Of course. Dr. Chen positioned herself in front of Amara. Ready? No, but do it anyway. The doctor carefully began unwinding the bandages. Layer after layer of gauze, moving slowly, checking the incision sites, making sure everything looked healthy. Marcus held Amara's left hand. Mrs. Jackson held her right. The room was silent except for breathing. Finally, the last layer of bandages came off. Amara's eyes were closed, taped shut. The doctor explained to protect them during healing. She gently removed the tape. Okay, Amara, open your eyes slowly, very slowly. The light might hurt at first. Amara's eyes fluttered open. She squinted, winced, squeezed them shut again. It's so bright. Everything's so bright. That's good, Dr. Chen said. That means you're perceiving light. Take your time. Open them again when you're ready. Amara tried again. This time she kept them open longer, blinking rapidly. Her unseeing left eye stared straight ahead, but her right eye moved, focused, tracked across the room. I see... Amara's voice broke. I see light, and dark, and colors. There's colors. Nana, you're wearing blue. You're wearing blue, Mrs. Jackson sobbed. Yes, baby. Yes, I'm wearing blue. Can you see my face? Kind of. It's blurry, but I can see where your face is. I can see... Amara turned her right eye, finding Marcus. You. I can see you. Marcus couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, could only stare at this little girl who was looking at him, actually looking at him for the first time. You have gray hair, Amara said, her voice full of wonder. Gray and brown, and your faces, you look sad and happy at the same time. How can someone look sad and happy at the same time? Because that's what I am, Marcus managed. Sad for what I've lost. Happy for what I've found. Amara reached out, her depth perception off, and Marcus guided her hand to his face. She touched his cheeks, his beard, his eyes, comparing what she felt to what she saw. You're real, she whispered. I can see you're real. Dr. Chen was smiling. This is excellent, Amara. Better than I'd hoped. Your vision will improve over the next few weeks as your eye continues to heal. You'll need glasses, strong ones, and you'll still need your cane for mobility. But you have functional vision. You can go to regular school, play with friends, see the world. Not perfectly, but enough. Enough, Amara repeated, crying now. It's enough. It's more than enough. Maya climbed onto the bed, grinning. Can you see me? Can you see my shoes? They light up. Amara looked at her. that right eye tracking slowly but successfully. I see them. I see you. You're beautiful, Maya. So are you. The two girls hugged, crying and laughing, and Marcus had to turn away before he completely lost it. Keisha was there suddenly, her hand on his arm. You did this, she said quietly. You gave her this. We did this. All of us. The club, the community, your donation, everyone who cared. But it started with you. With you sitting on that bench. With you calling Ironhead. With you choosing to show up. Keisha's voice was thick with emotion. Maybe you're not the man who left me. Maybe you're someone different now. I want to be, Marcus said. God, Keisha, I want to be so badly. Then prove it. Keep showing up, not just for Amara, for Maya, for me. Keep being this person who gives a damn. I will. I swear I will. Later, after Dr. Chen left, after they celebrated with cake that Snake brought, after Maya fell asleep on the couch and Amara dozed in her bed, exhausted from the overwhelming sensory experience of partial sight, Marcus found himself on the apartment's small balcony with Ironhead. Hell of a day, Ironhead said, lighting a cigarette. Hell of a month. You know what this means, right? The foundation. Money. The media attention the other chapter's wanting. And this isn't going away. This is going to be our thing now. Hell's Angels helping disabled kids. That's our legacy. Marcus thought about that. About 98 criminals becoming known for something good. About their leather and tattoos and criminal records becoming secondary to their hearts. I can live with that, he said. Good. Because we're announcing the Amara Fund on New Year's. Official foundation. Money for disabled kids in underserved communities. Medical care, education, equipment, whatever they need. And you're running it. What, no? I don't know how to run a foundation. I barely finished high school. You know how to care. That's more important than a degree. Snake's got the business side covered. You got the heart side. Between you two, it'll work. Ironhead blew smoke into the cold air. This is your second chance, brother. Don't waste it. I won't. And your daughter, you going to keep pursuing that? Marcus looked through the window at Keisha sitting beside a sleeping Maya. If she lets me. One day at a time. I can't rush it, can't push. Just have to keep showing up and hope that's enough. It will be, eventually. You're doing the work. That counts for something. The work. Marcus thought about what that meant. Staying sober, showing up, being honest, not running when things got hard. It sounded simple but felt impossible most days. Still, he was doing it. One day at a time, he was doing it. New Year's Eve arrived with a major snowstorm that shut down half of Chicago. Marcus was at the clubhouse helping set up for the press conference announcing the Amara Fund when his phone rang. Mrs. Jackson. Mr. Stone, I hate to ask, but I need help. The heat's out in our building and the landlord says it won't be fixed until tomorrow. It's going to drop below 0 tonight. I can't keep Amara here, not after surgery. Not with her immune system compromised. Is there somewhere we could go? My place, Marcus said immediately. It's not much, but it's warm, and it's yours for as long as you need it. I can't impose. You're not imposing, you're accepting help. There's a difference. I'll come get you. He drove through snow-packed streets in Ironhead's truck, picked up Mrs. Jackson and Amara and their overnight bags, brought them back to his studio apartment. Mrs. Jackson looked around at the sparse furnishings. The mattress on the floor, the walls decorated with nothing but a calendar and a picture of Keisha that he'd kept in his wallet for 23 years and finally framed. Is that your daughter? Mrs. Jackson asked. Yeah, school picture from when she was 6. It's the only picture I have. She looks like you. She got her mama's goodness, thank God. I'd hate for her to have inherited anything from me. Amara was looking around with her partial vision taking everything in. Marcus, you don't have much stuff. Don't need much, just need enough. That's wise. Amara sat on his mattress, ran her hands over the worn blanket. This is your bed. Yeah, you and your Nana take it tonight. I'll sleep on the floor. We can share. It's big enough for 3. Mrs. Jackson started to object, but Marcus held up his hand. If the kid wants to share, we share. I don't mind. That night, the three of them slept in Marcus's bed, Mrs. Jackson on one side, Amara in the middle, Marcus on the edge, terrified he'd roll over and hurt someone. Amara held his hand even in sleep. Mrs. Jackson snored softly, and Marcus lay awake thinking about how strange and beautiful it was that a Hell's Angels empty apartment had become a sanctuary for two people who'd started out afraid of him. At midnight, fireworks exploded outside despite the snow. Amara woke up startled. What is that? Fireworks. New Year. It's 2024 now. I can see them. Amara breathed, her face pressed to the window. Not good, but I can see the colors. Red, blue, white. They're beautiful. Marcus joined her at the window. Together they watched Chicago celebrate, watched light burst across the dark sky, watched the new year arrive with sound and fury and hope. Marcus, Amara said quietly, this is the best year ever. I can see. You're my friend. Maya's my friend. Nana doesn't have to work so much because of the money people gave us. Everything's better. Yeah, kid. Everything's better. Is it better for you too? Marcus thought about Keisha texting him regularly now. About Maya calling him grandpa. About the foundation launching tomorrow. About sleeping with a 7-year-old's hand in his, and her grandmother snoring across the bed and feeling less alone than he'd felt in decades. Yeah, he said. It's better for me too. The press conference on New Year's Day was chaos. Reporters from every major outlet, cameras everywhere, the clubhouse packed beyond capacity. Ironhead spoke first, explaining the Amara Fund's mission. Snake presented financial projections. Then they called Marcus to the microphone. He'd never been good at public speaking, had spent most of his life trying to be invisible. But he stood there in his leather jacket and looked out at the crowd and told the truth. 3 weeks ago, a blind 7-year-old girl offered me her last dollar. She didn't know me. Didn't know I was a Hell's Angel or an ex-con or someone most people cross the street to avoid. She just heard sadness in my voice and wanted to help. That one moment, that one act of pure kindness changed everything. Changed me. Changed my club. Changed a community. And now we're going to use that moment to change the lives of thousands of kids who need help. He paused, his voice thick. The Amara Fund isn't charity. It's what happens when people choose to see each other's humanity instead of their differences. When bikers and churchgoers and cops and criminals all decide that a child matters more than our prejudices. We're going to fund medical care, education, mobility equipment, whatever disabled kids need to have a chance at a good life. And we're going to do it in honor of Amara Jackson, who taught us all how to be human again. The room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. But Marcus only saw Amara and Mrs. Jackson in the front row, both crying. He saw Keisha standing in the back with Maya. He saw his brother's 98 Hell's Angels who'd chosen compassion over reputation. After the press conference, a reporter cornered him. Mr. Stone, do you think one good deed erases your criminal past? No, Marcus said honestly. Nothing erases the past. But maybe we're more than our worst moments. Maybe people can change. Maybe Hell's Angels can be angels. Not because we're perfect, but because we keep showing up and trying. That answer made national news. By January 2nd, the Amara Fund had received donations from all 50 states. By January 5th, it had enough money to help 300 kids. By January 10th, Hell's Angels chapters across the country were organizing their own fundraising events. Marcus spent every free moment at the community center learning how to run a foundation, how to evaluate applications for help, how to be responsible for other people's hope. It was terrifying and exhausting and the most meaningful thing he'd ever done. Keisha started bringing Maya bi-weekly. They'd have dinner. Marcus, Keisha, Maya, Amara, Mrs. Jackson. An unlikely family built from broken pieces, but a family nonetheless. Maya called him Grandpa now without hesitation. Keisha still called him Marcus, but the edge was gone from her voice. One night in late January, after Maya fell asleep and Amara was doing homework and Mrs. Jackson was cooking, Keisha pulled Marcus aside. "I've been thinking," she said, "about us, about what kind of relationship we can have." Marcus's heart pounded. "Okay, I can't give you back the 23 years you missed. I can't pretend they didn't happen. I can't make Maya's childhood magically include you from the beginning. But I can," she took a shaky breath, "I can let you be part of our lives going forward, if you want, if you keep showing up. I want that more than anything. Then here's the deal. You see a therapist. You work on your trauma, your addiction history, all of it. You don't get to half-ass this. You want to be my father, then be healthy enough to be my father. I'll start tomorrow. And you tell me the truth, always, even when it's ugly, especially when it's ugly. No more secrets, no more disappearing, full transparency. Done. And you understand that I might never fully forgive you. I might always carry some anger, some hurt, and that has to be okay." "It's okay," Marcus said. "You carry whatever you need to carry. I'll be here, however you'll have me." Keisha looked at him with her mother's eyes and his stubborn chin. "Okay, then let's try. Slow, no pressure, but let's try." Marcus felt something unlock in his chest. Not forgiveness exactly, not redemption, but possibility. The possibility that he could be a father to his daughter, a grandfather to Maya, a person who mattered to the people who mattered to him. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for giving me this chance." "Don't thank me, thank Amara. She's the one who saw something in you worth saving. I'm just following her lead." Later that night, walking back to his apartment through January snow, Marcus thought about how $1 had become 150,000, had become a foundation, had become a relationship with his daughter, had become a life worth living. He thought about Amara's words. Nobody dies alone if someone cares about them. And for the first time in 23 years, Marcus Stone believed he wouldn't die alone. Because people cared now. Because he'd given them reasons to care. Because he'd kept showing up. Because a blind 7-year-old girl had offered him her last dollar and given him everything. 5 years passed like water through fingers, fast and precious and impossible to hold on to. Amara was 12 now in 7th grade, wearing thick glasses that made her eyes look huge but let her see enough to live a nearly normal life. She still used her white cane in crowded places, still struggled with depth perception. But she could read regular books now with magnification, could watch movies, could see her friends' faces. The surgery had given her more than partial vision. It had given her choices. Marcus was 57, grayer and slower, but more alive than he'd ever been. The Amara Fund had helped over 3,000 children in 5 years. Hell's Angels chapters across the country ran annual last dollar rides. The foundation had a real office, now paid staff, a board of directors. And Marcus showed up every single day reviewing applications, meeting families, watching miracles happen over and over. His relationship with Keisha had evolved into something real. Not perfect, they still fought. Still had days where the past rose up between them like a wall, but real. She called him Dad now sometimes, usually when she wasn't thinking about it, when her guard was down. Those moments were worth more than gold to Marcus. Maya was 11, all gangly limbs and braces and attitude. She and Amara were inseparable sisters in everything but blood. Maya spent weekends at the Jacksons' apartment. Amara spent weekends at Keisha's house. The families had merged in that organic way families do when love matters more than DNA. But in March of that 5th year, everything changed. Marcus started coughing. Just a little at first, nothing serious. Smoker's cough, he told himself, even though he'd quit cigarettes 3 years ago. But it got worse. By April, he was coughing up blood. By May, he couldn't ignore it anymore. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday. Stage 4 lung cancer. Metastasized to his lymph nodes and liver. 6 to 8 months, maybe less. Treatment would buy time, but not much. The doctor was apologetic, like it was her fault Marcus had smoked 2 packs a day for 30 years. Marcus sat in the examination room alone. He'd driven himself, told no one about the appointment, and felt the world tilt. 6 months. He'd gotten 5 good years, and now he had 6 months. He thought about Amara, about Keisha and Maya, about Mrs. Jackson, who'd become like a mother to him, about his brothers who'd become his family, about all the kids still waiting for help from the foundation. 6 months wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was what he had. He called Ironhead first. "I need church. Tonight. Full club. It's important." "You okay, brother?" "No. But I will be. Just get everyone there." That night, Marcus stood before 98 Hells Angels and told them he was dying. Told them about the cancer, the timeline, the reality that he wouldn't see Christmas. The room went silent in a way that made the air feel heavy. "Reaper, no." Snake said, his voice breaking. "No. We'll fight this. We'll get the best doctors. The Foundation has money." "The Foundation's money goes to kids, not to keeping an old biker alive past his expiration date," Marcus said firmly. "I've made my peace with it. I got 5 years I didn't deserve. 5 years of being human again. That's more than I had any right to expect." "What do you need?" Ironhead asked. "Anything. Name it." "I need you to promise me the Foundation continues. That you keep doing the rides, keep helping kids, keep proving that Hell's Angels are more than what people think we are." "Done. What else?" "I need help telling my family. Keisha, Maya, Amara. I don't know how to tell them I'm leaving again. I just got them back." Tiny the giant, who'd cried when Amara first offered Marcus that dollar, stood up. "We'll be there. However you want to do this, we'll be there." Marcus told Keisha next at her house after Maya was asleep. She was folding laundry, talking about a difficult patient at the hospital, laughing about something Maya had said at dinner. Normal. Everything was normal until Marcus spoke. "I need to tell you something. And you're going to be angry, and you have every right to be, but I need you to hear it." Keisha's hand stilled on a towel. "What did you do?" "I'm sick. Cancer. Lung cancer. Stage 4. I've got 6 to 8 months. The towel fell from her hands. Her face went through shock, disbelief, anger, grief, all of it cycling so fast Marcus couldn't track it. Then she did something he didn't expect. She slapped him, hard, across the face. "You're leaving me again," she said, her voice shaking with fury. "You finally show up, you finally become my father, and you're leaving me again." "Keisha, no, you don't get to do this. You don't get to make me care about you and then die. That's not fair. That's not..." Her voice broke completely. "I just got you back. I just started calling you Dad. I just forgave you. And now you're dying." Marcus pulled her into his arms, and she fought him at first, hitting his chest with her fists, sobbing. But eventually she stopped fighting and just held on, crying into his shoulder, the way she probably hadn't cried since she was 2 years old, and he'd left the first time. "I'm sorry," Marcus whispered. "I'm so sorry. For all of it. For leaving the first time. For not coming back sooner. For getting cancer. For only having 5 years to be your father. I'm sorry it's not enough." "It's not enough," Keisha sobbed. "It's not nearly enough." They stood in her living room holding each other while the laundry sat forgotten and Maya slept upstairs and the future Marcus had been building crumbled around them. "How do I tell Maya?" Keisha asked, finally pulling back to wipe her eyes. "How do I tell my daughter her grandfather is dying? She loves you. She'll be devastated." "We tell her together. We tell her the truth. We give her time to ask questions and be sad and be angry. And we make sure she knows it's not her fault and nothing she could have done would have changed it. Soon, before she hears it from someone else, before I start looking sick." "And Amara, have you told Mrs. Jackson?" "Not yet. That's tomorrow. That's..." Marcus's voice broke. "That's going to be the hardest conversation of my life. Harder than telling me, yeah, because Amara, she saved me. She gave me these 5 years, and I'm going to break her heart." The next day, Marcus asked Mrs. Jackson if he could take Amara out for ice cream. Just the two of them. Mrs. Jackson agreed, though her eyes were worried. She'd known him long enough to read his moods. They went to a small ice cream shop near the community center. Amara got chocolate chip. Marcus got coffee and didn't eat any of it. They sat at a corner table, Amara happily describing her science project. Her partial vision letting her see Marcus's face well enough to notice when he went quiet. "Something's wrong," she said, putting down her spoon. "You're sad, really sad. What happened?" "I need to tell you something, kid, and it's going to be hard to hear." Amara's expression went serious. At 12, she was old enough to know when adults used that tone, bad news was coming. "Okay, tell me." "I'm sick. I have cancer, lung cancer, and the doctors say I have about 6 months left. Maybe less. There's treatment, but it won't cure me. It'll just give me a little more time." Amara stared at him with her good eye, her bad eye, gazing somewhere past his shoulder, and Marcus watched her process the information, watched her face crumple, watched tears spill over and run down her cheeks. "No," she whispered. "No, that's not fair. I know. You can't die. You're Marcus. You're supposed to be here. You promised you wouldn't leave." "I promised I wouldn't leave by choice," Marcus said gently, "and I won't. But sometimes we don't get a choice. Sometimes our bodies give out. Because you smoked, because you hurt yourself for years before we met, because you were broken." Amara was crying hard now, her voice thick. "And now you're leaving, and it's not even your fault. But it is your fault because you chose to smoke, and now you're angry at me. And that's okay. You're allowed to be angry." "I don't want to be angry. I want you to be okay. I want you to live." Amara reached across the table, found his hand. "Please don't die. Please. I'll give you my last dollar again. I'll give you everything. Just don't die." Marcus moved around the table and pulled her into his arms, this girl who'd saved him, this child who'd given him a reason to be human. "If your dollar could save me, I'd take it. But this isn't something money can fix. This isn't something kindness can fix. This is just life ending the way life ends. It's too soon. You're only 57. That's not old enough." "No, it's not. But I got 5 more years than I deserved. 5 years of knowing you, of watching you grow, of being part of something good. You gave me that. Those 5 years are because of you." Amara cried into his chest, her whole body shaking, and Marcus held her and cried too. They cried in the ice cream shop, while other customers pretended not to notice, while their ice cream melted in the cups, while the world kept spinning, even though it felt like it should stop. Finally, Amara pulled back and looked at him with swollen eyes. "What happens to the foundation when you die? What happens to all the kids who need help?" "The foundation keeps going. Snake's going to take over as director. Ironhead's on the board. Your Nana agreed to be the community liaison. It's going to be fine. Better than fine. It's going to help thousands more kids. But it won't be you. No, it won't be me. But it'll be what we built together. That'll live on. That matters. I don't care about what matters. I care about you." Amara's voice was fierce, now angry and heartbroken. "I don't want the foundation without you. I don't want anything without you. You're going to have to learn to want things without me. Because I'm not going to be here. And you're going to keep living, keep growing, keep being amazing. That's how you honor what we had, by living a good life." "That's not fair." "Life's not fair, kid. You know that better than anyone. But we keep going anyway. We keep showing up. We keep offering our last dollar. That's what you taught me. Remember?" Amara nodded miserably. "I remember." Word spread fast. By the next day, the whole community knew Marcus was dying. People started showing up at the clubhouse with food, with cards, with offers to help. The phone rang constantly. Reporters wanted interviews. Other Hells Angels chapters wanted to send representatives to visit. Everyone wanted something from him, and Marcus just wanted to be left alone to spend his remaining time with the people who mattered. But Ironhead had other ideas. "We're doing a ride," he announced at church 2 weeks after the diagnosis. "The last dollar ride to end all rides. We're going to have every Hells Angels chapter in the country send representatives. We're going to ride from Chicago to Mount Rushmore and back. 5 days. And Reaper's going to ride with us. I can't ride 5 days, Marcus objected. I can barely walk upstairs without getting winded. Then you ride in a sidecar. We'll strap you to Tiny's bike if we have to. But you're coming. This is your ride, brother. Your victory lap. And we're going to make it legendary. Marcus looked around at his brothers, at faces he'd known for years, at men who'd become his family at the club that had saved him as much as Amara had, and nodded. Okay, let's do it. Let's make it legendary. The Last Dollar ride launched on June 1st with over 5,000 motorcycles. Hell's Angels from California, Texas, Florida, New York, all of them converged on Chicago. The route would take them through Illinois, Iowa, South Dakota, and back. 5 days of riding, camping, bonding. 5 days of celebrating what they'd become. Marcus rode in a sidecar attached to Tiny's bike, bundled in blankets despite the summer heat because the cancer made him cold all the time now. Amara rode in another sidecar attached to Snake's bike, her partial vision good enough to enjoy the landscape rushing by. Keisha, Maya, and Mrs. Jackson followed in a support van. The first day they made it to Iowa City. That night, around the campfire, Marcus told stories about his early days in the club, about stupid things they'd done, illegal things they'd done, dangerous things they'd done. He didn't sugarcoat it, didn't pretend he'd always been good. He let them see who he'd been so they could understand who he'd become. I stole my first bike, he admitted. Hot-wired a Harley outside a bar in Gary, Indiana. Rode it for 3 months before the owner tracked me down and beat the hell out of me. I deserved it. I was 19 and thought rules didn't apply to me. What changed? A younger member asked. When did you decide to follow rules? When I realized rules protect people, Marcus said. When I realized that doing whatever I wanted meant hurting people who didn't deserve it. When I met a 7-year-old blind girl who offered me her last dollar and made me want to be worthy of that gift. Amara, sitting beside him, wrapped in her own blanket, leaned against his shoulder. You were always worthy, Marcus. You just didn't know it yet. Maybe. Or maybe you made me worthy by believing in me. Same difference. The second day they reached Sioux Falls. Marcus's cough was worse, blood-flecked tissues piling up in the sidecar. Tiny wanted to turn back, get him to a hospital, but Marcus refused. We finish the ride. We make it to Mount Rushmore. I'm not quitting now. Brother, you're dying. I'm dying anyway. Might as well die doing something that matters. Riding with my family. Showing the world what we are. Keep going. The third day, Marcus passed out twice. Once in the sidecar, once at a rest stop. Both times he came to with Keisha's face above him, her expression terrified and angry. Dad, we need to stop. This is killing you faster. Then it kills me faster, but I'm finishing this ride. Why? Why does this matter so much? Because 5 years ago, I thought I was nothing. I thought Hell's Angels were nothing but criminals. And now we're 5,000 bikers riding to raise money for disabled kids. We're proof that people can change, that even the worst of us can become better. I need to finish this. I need to see it through. Keisha looked at her father, really looked at him, saw the determination, the stubborn pride, the refusal to quit even when his body was giving out. She saw herself in him and understood. Okay. But you rest when we say rest. You drink water when we say drink. You take your pain meds. Deal. Deal. They reached Mount Rushmore on the 4th day. 5,000 motorcycles parked in formation, engines rumbling in unison, a thunder that seemed to shake the earth. Marcus stood before those carved presidents, Tiny holding him up on one side and Snake on the other, and looked at what they'd accomplished. 5,000 bikers. Hundreds of thousands of dollars raised. Thousands of children helped. All because one blind girl had offered him $1. Speech, someone shouted. Reaper, give us a speech. Marcus took the microphone someone handed him, his voice weak but amplified by speakers. 5 years ago, I was sitting on a bench in Chicago wanting to die. I'd spent my whole life being worthless, being a criminal, being the kind of man people cross the street to avoid. And then a 7-year-old blind girl sat down next to me and offered me her last dollar. She didn't see my tattoos or my colors or my record. She just heard sadness and wanted to help. He paused, coughing into his hand blood on his palm. Keisha moved to him, but he waved her off. That moment changed everything, because it made me realize I still had value. I could still matter. I could still be human. And all of you. He gestured at the 5,000 bikers. All of you chose to matter too. You chose to be more than what society thinks Hell's Angels are. You chose to help kids, to show up, to offer your last dollar over and over. His voice was fading now, barely audible even with the microphone. I'm dying. We all know it. But I'm dying knowing I mattered, knowing I helped people, knowing that what we started will continue. That's more than I ever dreamed possible. Thank you, all of you, for giving a worthless old biker a reason to be better. The crowd erupted. 5,000 motorcycle engines revved in tribute, the sound deafening and beautiful. Marcus collapsed into Tiny's arms unconscious before he hit the ground. He woke up in a hospital in Rapid City, South Dakota. Keisha was beside him holding his hand. Maya was curled up in a chair asleep. Amara sat on the other side of the bed, her good eye red from crying. You scared us, Keisha said quietly. Doctors say you had a pulmonary embolism. You almost died. I'm already dying. What's almost? Don't joke. This isn't funny. I know. I'm sorry. Marcus squeezed her hand. How long was I out? 6 hours. It's midnight now. The ride's over. Everyone's heading home. But they wanted me to tell you they raised over $2 million. $2 million, Dad. That's going to help so many kids. Marcus felt tears slide down his face. $2 million. From people who'd been told their whole lives they were worthless. From criminals and outcasts and men society had given up on. They'd given $2 million to help disabled children. We did good, he whispered. Didn't we? We did something good. You did something incredible, Keisha corrected. You turned a moment of kindness into a movement. You proved that people can change. That love matters more than past mistakes. You gave thousands of kids a better future. That's not good, Dad. That's everything. Marcus stayed in the hospital for 3 days, then insisted on going home to Chicago. Home. When had Chicago become home? When had anywhere become home? But it was home now because his family was there. The next 2 months were a blur of medications and pain and moments of clarity. Marcus spent his good days at the foundation office reviewing applications, approving grants, making sure everything would run smoothly after he was gone. He spent his bad days in bed, Amara reading to him, Maya telling him about school, Keisha forcing him to eat soup he couldn't taste. Mrs. Jackson visited daily, bringing food and prayers, and the kind of gentle strength that comes from burying a husband and raising grandchildren and surviving everything life throws at you. She'd sit beside his bed and talk about nothing and everything, keeping him tethered to the world when the pain made him want to let go. You did right by my grandbaby, she told him one afternoon in late July. You showed up. You kept your promise. Not many men do that. She saved me first, Marcus said. I just returned the favor. You did more than return it. You multiplied it, turned her kindness into a legacy. That's special. By August, Marcus couldn't leave his apartment anymore. The cancer had spread to his bones, his brain. He was on hospice, a hospital bed, set up in his studio, nurses coming and going. His brothers visited in shifts, never leaving him alone. Amara and Maya visited after school every day. Keisha moved in, sleeping on the couch, taking family leave from the hospital to care for him. You don't have to do this, Marcus told her one night when the pain was so bad he couldn't sleep. You don't owe me this. I'm not doing it because I owe you. I'm doing it because you're my father and I love you. And that's what love means. Showing up. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. You taught me that. On August 15th, Marcus knew it was time. He could feel his body shutting down, could feel death coming like an old friend he'd been expecting. He asked Keisha to gather everyone, all the people who mattered. One last meeting. They came. Ironhead and Snake and Tiny and 20 other Hell's Angels. Mrs. Jackson and Amara and Maya. Keisha. His whole chosen family crammed into his tiny apartment, standing around his bed waiting. Marcus looked at each of them with eyes that barely focused anymore. Thank you. For everything. for showing up, for caring, for making these last 5 years worth living. Don't talk like that, Amara said, crying. You're not dying today. You're not allowed. Can't stop it, kid. But I need you to listen. All of you. Promise me something. Anything, they said in chorus. Promise me you'll keep showing up. Keep helping kids. Keep proving that people can change. Keep offering your last dollar. That's my legacy. Not the money, not the foundation, but the idea that we're all worth saving. That kindness matters. That love wins. Promise me. We promise. Ironhead said, his voice thick. We swear it, brother. Marcus looked at Amara, reached for her hand. She took it, holding on tight. You gave me everything, kid. You saw me when I was invisible. You believed in me when I was unbelievable. You taught me how to be human. I love you. Thank you for my last 5 years. I love you too, Amara sobbed. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for everything. Keisha. Marcus turned to his daughter. I'm sorry I missed so much of your life, but I'm grateful for the time we had. You made me proud. You're an incredible mother, an incredible person. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for letting me be your dad. Keisha couldn't speak, just nodded and held his other hand. Maya, sweetness, you be good for your mama. Keep being brave and kind. Keep being you. I will, Grandpa. I promise. Marcus closed his eyes, feeling all their hands on him, hearing all their voices telling him they loved him, that he mattered, that he'd changed their lives. He thought about a cold December day 5 years ago, when a blind girl had offered him $1. Thought about how that one moment had led to this, a room full of people who loved him, a legacy that would outlive him, proof that even Hell's Angels could find redemption. He died at 3:47 a.m. on August 16th, surrounded by love, holding Amara's hand on one side and Keisha's on the other. His funeral was held at the community center. Over 3,000 people attended. Hell's Angels from 40 states. Families whose children the foundation had helped. Community members. Reporters. Strangers who'd been moved by his story. Amara spoke, her voice steady despite her tears. Marcus Stone saved my sight. But more than that, he taught me that people are always more than their worst moments. He was a criminal. He was a bad father. He was broken and wrong in so many ways. But he was also kind. He was also brave. He was also capable of love. And he proved that change is always possible. That redemption is real. That showing up matters. I'm going to miss him every day for the rest of my life. But I'm going to honor him by doing what he did, by seeing the humanity in everyone even when it's hard, by offering my last dollar, by showing up. Keisha spoke next. My father left me when I was 2 years old, and then he came back when I was 30. I was angry for a long time about the years we lost. But I've realized something. Those 5 years we had were precious because they were hard-won. Because he had to earn them. Because he chose every single day to show up and be my father. Not everyone gets that. Not everyone gets to watch their parent transform from the person who hurt them into the person who loves them. I got that, and I'm grateful. I love you, Dad. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for staying as long as you could. The Amara Fund continued. Within 10 years, it had helped over 50,000 children. Hell's Angels chapters across the world participated in annual last dollar rides. The foundation expanded internationally. Marcus's story was taught in social work programs and criminal justice courses in rehabilitation centers. He became proof that people could change, that second chances mattered, that love could transform even the most broken souls. Amara grew up to become a disability rights attorney, fighting for the kinds of kids Marcus had fought for. She never forgot the biker who'd sat on a bench with her in a snowstorm and let her save him. She kept his picture on her desk, kept the dollar bill he'd tried to give back framed on her wall, kept his memory alive in everything she did. Keisha started a support group for adult children of absent parents who'd reconciled. She helped hundreds of people navigate the complicated emotions of forgiveness and second chances. She told her father's story, often not to excuse his abandonment, but to show that people were capable of redemption. Maya became a social worker dedicating her life to helping kids in foster care. She said Marcus had taught her that family wasn't about blood, it was about showing up. Mrs. Jackson lived to be 93, long enough to see the Amara Fund help her great-grandchildren, long enough to watch the legacy Marcus and Amara had built together spread across the world. She said until the day she died that Marcus Stone was the best man she'd ever known, and anyone who disagreed simply hadn't known him. The Hells Angels. Southside chapter kept a picture of Marcus in their clubhouse. Not Marcus the criminal, but Marcus holding Amara's hand the day after her surgery, both of them smiling, both of them saved. Underneath the picture, a plaque read, "Reaper, brother, proof that angels can fall and rise again." And every December, on the anniversary of the day, a 7-year-old blind girl offered a Hells Angel her last dollar. 5,000 motorcycles rode through Chicago, their engines rumbling like thunder, their riders proving over and over that people could be more than their worst moments. That love conquered hate, that showing up mattered, that one small act of kindness could change thousands of lives. Because that's what Marcus and Amara had taught them all, that we're not defined by where we start or how far we fall, but by whether we're willing to get back up to keep trying to keep offering our last dollar to anyone who needs it. That's redemption. That's love. That's everything.